afternoon. Thank you for joining SPAR's Better and Better podcast. I'm Jennifer Kovacic. I'm the Communications Director Liaison, Staff Liaison for the committee. And thanks for being with us today to participate in the Beyond the Stats podcast. With me is Nicole Hayden and Paola Clydesdale, and it's great to have you both back for this conversation.
Good to be here, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as you know, every month we get together, we talk a little bit about statistics, things that relate to statistics or your experiences in the housing market. And I'm just going to dive in. Home prices were a bit of a roller coaster the past few months. We saw them down slightly in April and May, and then up a little bit in June, and then they were flat in July. In addition, both buyer and seller activity were lower compared to July a year ago in 2022. April marked our first year-over-year price decline in more than 11 years, going all the way back to February of 2002, I take that back, February 2012, but still quite some time ago. And the typical home price is now up 7.1% from 2021. It's up 20% from 2020. And it's up 32.3% from back in 2019 as of July, which was also the most recent month of available statistics. We always do a month back for our full, the full look or overview of our statistics. The median house price in July was $375,000, which was also actually the median home price in July of 2022 as well. Signed purchase agreements fell 9.5% from last July when buyer activity had already declined with higher rates. But of course, as both of you know, market dynamics always vary by price point, property type, and location. And people still move. Some people move because of relocation or family needs or just different things that happen in their lives. And others, it's just in the best interest for a variety of reasons. And that's where I want to turn this conversation a little bit to both of you. How do you coach your clients in doing what's best for them, whether that means getting ready to move now, to make a housing change, or waiting for a better time? Sometimes they know it's not always right now that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great question. So when I hear some of our statistics about, this is the first year-over-year price decline and, the price of homes being flat, I think back to that's kind of the intention, right? The whole goal of increasing interest rates has been to the end of decreasing inflation, and housing is included in that. So by flattening out the prices, cooling off the market, we're actually doing what the whole goal of increasing interest rates was. So I think that's important to just remember our consumers is that it's to me, it doesn't create panic because this is the whole reason that we increased interest rates. We're achieving what the goal was. So I think just helping folks understand that it's not like bad signals of the market. It's the goal of the Fed was to decrease inflation. But then what does that mean on a personal level? I think it's really important for folks to evaluate one by one. If your house is no longer a fit for you and your family, it might be the right time. And if we're working towards, I want to wait till the interest rate gets 1 or 2 more % down, that might give you some greater ability to purchase, but we're going to start to see a lot of competition come back. If prices or interest rates get down to 5% again, we're going to increase that competition. So I hesitate to encourage people to wait just because I think those market volatility results in affordability challenges, whether it's from interest or the overall price of a home. But I'd be curious, Paola, how do you navigate that?
Yes, I encourage people to buy the house, do the move, continue. The life must continue and move on. If the rates come down, great, refinance. That way you're not gonna be in the competition, just like you mentioned. Because if people is waiting for the rates coming down, guess what? It's gonna be tough, and you might not get the house that you're looking for. Right now, you can get a house that you really looking for. People have high expectations of what type of housing, and a lot of developers out there, they're having wonderful interest rates too when it's a new construction. And perhaps you are not buying a new construction, but you're getting the house with a big backyard where you can enjoy your kids and the dogs and the pets and you name it. I will encourage my clients, and we will continue to encourage all of our clients to buy the house now. This is the moment. Why wait? You don't know what the tomorrow will bring anyways. You can always refinance. Yep.
Definitely pros and cons. And as you mentioned challenges too sometimes. Just because the rate's lower doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be dealing with competition and some of that, those other things. Let's talk a little bit specifically looking at sellers. From the July statistics, those who listed and sold their properties received an average of 108% of list price after 29 days on the market. Prices flattening out and homes spending longer on market combined with a possible downtick in rates may be favorable news for buyers who have been feeling frustrated. So with that, let's talk a little bit about motivation. After many years of low rates, what advice do you have for agents, either new or seasoned agents, to stay positive and active in their business, being with potentially less activity and higher rates right now? Paula, let's go to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We are confronting challenges right now at this moment with our listings, and we're just at this point we have to highlight the best product out there, so that way that product can be sellable. And you can be surprised if the product is really good, you're getting higher offers slightly, but you are. But if you put in a house on the market that is not the best looking home or the best quality in the product, definitely it's going to be price adjustments. And yeah, that's what we're confronting. We're just keeping the clients motivating, depending on the client. What is the situation of the client? Is this client a flipper, investor, remodeling homes? Well, we have to adjust and move the inventory, right? Or this is a family who needs to relocate to another place. Well, we need to figure it out to adjust the price as well. So that's where we are right now, and just keeping our hopes up and our positive attitude. That's all we can do at this point.
Yeah, I really like what Paola was saying. I think when you talk about those various types of buyers, you're filling your seller with confidence that you know what folks are looking for. And each of those buyer pools is very unique and different in what they're looking for. So if you can come to your listing appointment with that confidence and can quickly understand how this home is going to fit to that buyer, you're going to fill your seller with a lot of confidence that you know how to sell it, even if it takes a little bit more time, even if we might be looking at a price reduction, depending. I think that's really important. And then, I think, this is a really good time to increase our professionalism, increase our skill set. I know personally something that I'm looking at is some of the GRI classes, ways that I can increase my skills as a realtor, because as the market shifts, I know that I'm going to need to differentiate myself in those buyer consultations, in those listing appointments. So I think finding the ways that make sense for you to differentiate yourself to your competition, this is an opportunity to capitalize that. We're running into that seasonably slow down time, regardless of where interest rates were going to land. So this is an opportunity to capitalize on that extra time. Do something productive with it.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Great advice from both of you. And, I don't think you can ever go wrong with that professional growth and development.
Yeah.
And as you said, Nicole, differentiating yourselves from others to show what you have to offer your clients. Staying in the realm of sellers for a minute longer, sellers, as you both know, have a decision to make when they have flexibility in making a choice. Do they stay put in a home that no longer meets their needs because they're at a rate, or do they take their equity and embrace higher prices and rates until refinancing? Sellers might be reluctant, and I know we've seen this a lot, to swap that 3% interest rate for a 7% rate. And as of last week, we saw that the mortgage rates increased to 7.09%, which is the highest 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate since 2002. April 5th of 2002 to be exact. But even at this rate, these rates are more traditional. We had rates that went really low, but really this is more the traditional realm from just a few years ago. And while that's true, the reality is for some people with lower inventory and higher rates, it does freeze them out of becoming home buyers right now. So my question for you guys, working with your clients, what do you do with this new information, and how do you keep that momentum and positivity and knowledge for them, being real, but also being positive?
Yeah, I can tell you with my own experience and my clientele, I'm telling the true facts. That's simple. I have to tell you that in this country, we have like the best rates in the world, and people don't have knowledge of that information. You're not gonna find countries that will have interest rates prorating in 30 years or up to 40 years. If you're gonna buy a house in Japan, we're talking about, you have a lower rate right now, but you have to pay off your house in 2, 3, or 5 years. We're talking about Mexico, for example. You have only a 20-year mortgage, that's it, or maybe 15, and the rates are 12% to 14%. And we're talking about United States, which is offering wonderful products out there, and is making housing affordable, and people don't realize that. We need to have knowledge and get people to understand that we have the best of the best. Take advantage of this, which is true. England, same situation. The mortgages are totally different than here. So let's take advantage of that, guys. This is the moment, and this is the opportunity. Not to mention that this country give you all the interest that you pay is tax deductible. In other countries, they don't.
Wow, I love that perspective. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes, they need to know that. That's what I tell my clients, which is the truth. Yeah.
That's a really great perspective. I hadn't considered looking into where other countries are at. I'm going to steal that. That's awesome.
Good. That's what we're here for, to help each other, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, that's really helpful perspective to think about it on the international level. I mean, the reason we got that low of interest rates is because we had a pandemic. We had something incredibly exceptional happen. And it created exceptional opportunities. That's true. But I guess for my sellers who, if you have grown out of your house or aged out of your house or need to relocate for whatever personal reasons, I'm a big proponent of not waiting on life to try and time things for the perfect financial opportunity to do that. Because again, if you wait until the interest rates drop, if you need to sell and buy, on the buy side, you're going to be running into that competition as well. Right now, sellers are still getting a great deal of value because their value is based on homes that have sold in the last 3, 6, 12 months. And all of those have been at a pretty high equity return. So even if prices right now are kind of flat, they're still based on what's happened in the last year. So hopefully with that additional equity that they would be gaining from selling their home, they're walking into the next purchase in a better position, even if they're looking at a higher interest rate.
Sure. Well, and it's great when things align the way you want them to, but reality is a lot of times things aren't a perfect package. When priced right, sellers are, as you said, still seeing a good return on their investment, on their asking price. But I think one of the things to remember too, and I know you both know this better than I, is you want people to find the location they want or the layout they want, because there are other things that, you can make updates to your home. You can make updates to new appliances. You can paint. You can refinance, all those things. One thing I love to do when I sit down with you each month is just kind of hear the different tips that you might have to share with other agents, whether it's tips for buyers, tips for sellers. What are some things that work for you that you would be happy to share?
Yeah, I'll share tips for sellers right now. As best as you and as an agent can help guide them towards either staging services or really taking kind of a staging consultation perspective, and professional photography. It goes a long way for our sellers on the market right now. You see houses on the MLS that have kind of very obvious cell phone pictures. Those sellers are seeing the result of not having professional photography because you're comparing apples to oranges at that point. So I think that, the more we can encourage our sellers to really not overestimate that their house is going to sell in 2 days, no matter what it looks like or no matter what the pictures look like, you have to take the time to invest and showcase your home in the best light.
Yeah, I totally agree what you mentioning, Nicole. But I can see how agents that try to save money and they're struggling because they're solo agents or they're not part of the team and things like that. But in the end of the day, something will be costly. You're either part of the team and you're gonna split some commissions, or you are a solo agent and you really invest. And you invest good in order to have the great results. And that's what you are here in this industry. Are you here to be a great professional? Or just here just to sell a house and see if you get good luck or not? Let's make better decisions about that.
So using photography as an example, and maybe it's a solo agent who is listening to this podcast or somebody on a team, how do you recommend finding these people that can take the good pictures or that can make you a stronger agent?
When I first started, I got a photography referral from my broker at the time, and it's the same photographer I have used the entire time I've been in business. They are a national photographer, so they can they have a lot of photography options, so you can kind of pick your slots. They're flexible. They do editing pretty quickly, and you can get it turned over. So I know SPAR has different opportunities here where we have connections, whether it be inspectors or photographers, but brokers or your peers, anybody at SPAR that is active, I think has recommendations that they can give.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a SPAR staff person, I'll put in a plug. We have an affiliate committee with great resources, you know, all the different types of real estate professionals that can really help. And some of the networking opportunities are a great way to meet some of those people.
Yeah, that was ready to say that. That's why it's very important to network with our associations too, and we learn from one another. And that's what this podcast is about. So we can provide the information for you. So hopefully you're taking notes and make sure we apply those notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you've talked a little bit about this, but what are some of the silver linings you're seeing right now in your work experiences?
What do you see?
So silver linings, I would say for buyers, you know, we might be looking at higher interest rate, but we have more time to make decisions. People can take the night to think about if they want to submit an offer. More folks are really prioritizing an inspection. And a lot of sellers are looking at maybe still multiple offers, but all of them have an inspection contingency. So I like the pace for our buyers that the market is affording right now. It's not hurry up, make a decision, and then, you know, put all your eggs in that basket. So
you can actually literally sleep on it for a night?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Now we can.
And it's a big decision. It's nice for people to have that time.
Yes, I totally agree. We can have contingencies now. That's good. We can negotiate even closing costs in some cases too. Something that a lot of buyers were missing out there. They were putting offers in above the asking price, no closing costs, no inspection. I want the house. Now it's slow down and it's much better for them. So that's the advantage of the highest rates, because now you know what you're getting more in more detail.
And you both can maybe,
one more
go ahead.
in there. Sorry. One other bonus I would say for agents, when you have a listing, I think we have more opportunity to market ourselves and market that listing, and then kind of grow your ability to get future business because the listing maybe was on the market a little bit longer, so your sign stayed in the yard longer, your directionals were in the neighborhood longer. So I think we have more opportunity to gain future business from our listings being on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's a great point. What I was going to share, or see if you guys want to share, is for some clients, I know there are some different programs, assistant programs, city programs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because that can also help offset costs a little bit for some people.
Yes. In fact, this morning I received this amazing information from another lender, and I can tell you there is a lot of down payment assistance out there. They open more programs. They're being more flexible, and even with the lender himself offering incentives for buyers out there. The counties, even for investment properties as well, which is very surprising. There is a lot of money out there, even for people with a regular conventional loan, FHA or ITIN loans as well. And that's what I noticed. All these keys in the community that help us, our clients to give them the plus that they deserve.
Yeah, those programs help, for buyers who are looking at potentially higher interest. You can't necessarily always use the down payment funds to buy down your rate, but if you have down payment assistance program, then you might have some cash that you were planning to use for your down payment to then buy down your rate a little bit lower so that your monthly is looking lower as well. So there are a lot of programs, like Paolo was saying, lots of lenders, and as realtors, I think it's important that we know what those are and what options we can give our clients.
Any flexibility you can provide really can be helpful. Well, just to kind of get back into stats a little bit and end a little with a few, to provide a snapshot from July, according to Showing Time, the cities of Mounds View, Zumbrota, and Vadnais Heights within SPAR's service area saw the largest sales gains, while Hudson, Cambridge, and New Richmond had lower demand than last year. Single-family sales were down 11.6%, condo sales were flat, townhome sales were down 4.5%, and while previously owned sales were down 13.5%, we did see, as no surprise, new construction sales increased 61.8%. Both supply and demand have come down in unison, meaning that the balance between buyers and sellers remains tight. Inventory levels fell 16.1% in July to 7,842 active listings, and currently the market has just over 2 months of supply of inventory. A balanced market, just to keep perspective, is typically 4 to 6 months of supply. I just want to say I love when you guys come on together and just the conversation and the information you share. And before we wrap up officially, just is there anything else you want to share? Any last thoughts you want to leave?
Talking about those stacks that you mentioned, I can see why new construction is higher. And that makes sense because a lot of builders are offering lower rates right now. But this is something that you might want to steal also. All of you too.
I always want to steal your great ideas, Paola.
I'm glad. That's what we're here for. It's important that when you list in a property, take a look in the mortgage note and see that particular mortgage is transferable for the new buyer. That can be really good also.
Yeah.
That way those people can get that rate that the previous homeowner had.
Yeah.
So that's another one out there.
That's a really good tip. And it's something to differentiate the house for your sellers if they have an assumable mortgage, for sure. I think understanding that we still are just looking at like right over a 2-month supply inventory is going to be super important. I've gone to a couple events in the last 2 weeks, connecting with people at baby showers or summer barbecues. And the question are from folks who don't work in real estate as always, how's the market? The interest rate, does that mean you're slowing down? Are you running out of business? So just anticipate those questions and kind of figure out what your elevator speech is for those. It's helpful to not spread more fear. I think it does everybody in our business.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's great to know the facts, but having these backstories, the experiences, the knowledge, the tips, that helps everybody.
Yeah. Yep. And I love that word, elevate. And please elevate ourselves. Elevate our industry and everything that we do.
100%. Thank you guys. Nicole, Paola, love having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of Beyond the Stats.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.